Hi. Today I'm going to read The Princess and the Pea. This particular version is illustrated by Dubravka Kolonovic. So, The Princess and the Pea. Once upon a time, there was a lonely prince. He lived in a big castle with beautiful rooms and a pretty garden. But he wasn't happy because he didn't have someone special to share them with. If only I could find a lovely princess to marry, he sighed. The prince traveled far and wide and searched high and low, but he couldn't find anyone he liked. Maybe I'm just too fussy, thought the prince, but in his heart he knew he hadn't met the princess of his dreams. When he returned, the king and queen greeted the prince happily. I haven't found a princess yet, he sniffed sadly. I guess I never will. Don't be silly, said the queen. The right girl will come along soon. That night there was a terrible storm. Thunder boomed so loudly that it rattled the castle's windows. Rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle. Lightning shook the table as the prince and his parents sat down to eat their dinner. Suddenly, they all heard a loud rat-a-tat-tat. Someone was knocking on the door. Who could be visiting us on a night like this? Asked the queen. The prince opened the door and found a very wet girl standing in front of him. Raindrops ran down her muddy cloak, making a puddle at her feet. Drip, drop, drip, drop, drip, drop. Very wet. The girl pushed back her hood, and wild curls tumbled out. Hello, she said with a smile. I got lost on my way home and wondered if I could stay here for the night to shelter from the rain. My name is Princess Polly. She didn't look much like a princess, but princes must always be polite. So the prince invited her inside. Soon the princess was warm and dry. All night long, rain fell, plippity-plop, plippity-plop, on the castle roof. But the prince hardly noticed because he was too busy talking to Princess Polly. She was pretty and funny and kind. Princess Polly was everything the prince had hoped to find in a princess. By the end of the evening, the prince had fallen in love. But the queen wanted to be sure that the girl really was a princess. The queen told the servants to pile a bed high with mattresses. They heaved one on top of another until they had no more mattresses left. Then they placed a pillow and a quilt right at the top. Underneath the mattresses at the very bottom, the queen placed a teeny tiny pea. Only a real princess would be able to feel something so small through all those mattresses. When the queen showed Princess Polly to her bedroom, the girl gazed up at the tower of mattresses but didn't say anything. She was just grateful to have a bed for the evening. Good night, said Princess Polly. Sleep tight, whispered the queen. Princess Polly changed into her nightgown, climbed right to the top of the pile of mattresses and snuggled under the quilt. The next morning, Princess Polly came down to breakfast with dark circles under her eyes. She let out a great big yawn. Oh. How did you sleep, my dear? Asked the Queen. Princess Polly burst into tears. I don't want to be ungrateful, but I'm afraid I couldn't sleep a wink. There was something lumpy and bumpy in my bed. It kept me awake all night long. To Princess Polly's surprise, the Queen clapped her hands with delight. So you are a real princess, the Queen cried. The prince was overjoyed. Will you marry me, Princess Polly? He asked. Yes, squealed the princess, and they all lived happily ever after. The end.